Welcome back to the Unprofessional Footballer podcast. We're on episode 20 now, and I'm joined by a guest that isn't really a household name in Malta, but I think has a really, really interesting story to tell. And it's going to really spark a good debate, I think, throughout the podcast. And it's going to hit some interesting topics about players that are basically on track to reach the top of Maltese football and then just kind of stop and lose the love for the game?
I'd say lose the love for a bit. But then, as we'll talk later on to the episode, I'll explain how I sort of got that love back as well.
So Luke, introduce yourself first. I think that's the best place to start.
Yeah, I'm Luke. I'm currently 21, soon to be 22. I've played around a handful of clubs in Malta, mainly San Juan, Balzan and Mqabba. I've been playing football since I was 4 years old, I think. I started off with brink nursery.
Okay.
And moved on to San Juan and spent most of my years there.
So for people that are listening that aren't really too familiar with Maltese football, the names he's saying here, Birkirkara, Balzan, San Juan, they're all, you would say, the top-rated nurseries in Malta, right?
Yeah, definitely. Balzan and San Juan, they're definitely up there.
I know a handful of players that I've seen hit the top levels of Maltese football have come from nurseries like Birkirkara, have come through nurseries like San Juan, Balzan. So when it comes to your kind of youth development, you've had pretty much the best training in Malta available.
Definitely. I feel like currently at the time, especially, I think we had the best coaching staff and especially the passion that those coaching staff had. Pretty good. And obviously my determination as well to be a better version of myself every day.
Yeah,
it gets you places.
Work rate is just as important as having kind of access to all of the best coaching.
Exactly.
Stuff you need to get there. But so what age did you said you've been playing football from 4? Is that when you first enrolled into one of the nurseries here in Malta? Or?
Yes.
And that was Birkirkara, you said?
Exactly.
How long did you spend with Birkirkara in total?
Not too long, till around age 9. So I've spent 5 years in the nursery.
Okay. I mean, that's a good chunk of your development then.
Definitely.
How was the coaching at Birkirkara from that age?
Obviously, I was young, so most of it was more related to fun games. Getting used to football, how it's played and stuff. So
being in a team environment,
exactly. Yeah. I had a few coaches which I loved. And sometimes I still talk to them if I see them on the street.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the nice thing about Malta is because everything's so local, you really can maintain those close-knit relationships.
Yeah.
Because I find growing up in England, you might have a coach when you're, let's say, 10, and then the country's just so big, you're never going to bump into them again. But here, it's like you have a good chance of...
It's a blessing and a curse, because if you meet someone that you're not really fond of...
Some people are unavoidable, That also has its bad things.
Definitely.
So after leaving Birkirkara, you went to San Juan.
Yeah.
Was there a reason in particular that you left Birkirkara, or just moved on to, what would you say, a better academy for competitive football?
Mainly, since I was younger, it was mainly because most of my friends went to the club because our school was in San Juan. It's adjacent to the school, the pitch. So I just wanted to be closer to my friends, really. So that's why I decided to make the switch.
How was it?
It was great. I mean, I was enjoying football more at that time, obviously, because it was more relaxed. I was playing with my friends.
Yeah.
I would go out with my friends afterwards, so it was a fun time.
Was Miguel part of the team at that time as well? Or
yes. Me and Miguel have been teammates for quite a long time.
So I remember him saying to me, because I remember we were talking and I was like, some of the players in the fives actually have like really interesting stories. I was like I'd never realised you'd played with Maltese national team youth setups. And he was like, he's been my teammate for like 10 years. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I just don't remember to put these things together. And then I'm like, oh, wow, I'm actually bringing people that have been playing together for ages. No wonder there's chemistry. So what age did you play through till at San Juan?
Yeah, basically started around under 9, under 10, all the way I played with the senior team of San Juan.
Yeah.
I was still minors at the time. I think I was around, under 17s. I played with the seniors when I was under 17. They were, I think, in the first division.
Because San Juan's one of those teams that's usually quite good at bringing their youngsters through and making sure they cut their teeth.
They really focus on the young players. They want to bring them and adjust them to senior level.
I remember they had a massive period where they were in the second division at the time, but they were churning players out into the Premier League because they were bringing all their youngsters through the academy, putting them on showcase in the bottom division. And Premier League teams were buying them all. Like, wow, he's fucking good. Like, buy him, bring him across. And it became a really good business model for them to obviously make a lot of money from the players that they're investing in. Yeah. And they've kind of always been known as one of those teams that if you're a young player, you're going to get opportunities to play there and you'll get opportunities to get through into the first team and show yourself. How was your experience going through? Because obviously competitive football in Malta, it starts at 15, right? Under 15s.
Technically under 13s.
Okay.
Within Hoppel football.
Yeah. Talk me through a little bit about that. I'm not too familiar with that.
It's basically a 2-league setup.
Okay.
So you have the higher seed and the lower seed.
Yeah.
So the A League and the B League. And it's around 16 teams in total.
Okay.
So split in 8 each league. And yeah, you just play 2 rounds. It's just a normal league. But it's sort of the segue from,
small-sided,
7-a-side games to 11-a-side games.
Okay, so this is all 11-a-side.
Yeah,
already.
this is all 11-a-side, yeah. Yeah. You play 30 minutes each half, obviously, since of the younger age. And yeah, this is just a normal league. And then you transition on to under 15s when it becomes competitive youth football.
Mm-hmm. And throughout your entire time there, were San Juan Section A the entire time or Section B and Section A?
So the first year, so I was around 14 years of age, under 15. Our first year was in Section B, finished 4th. But then the subsequent years, pretty good, always Section A, always fighting for the top.
Because in the past, it was done by like seeded, right? Before the leagues, you had to play.
Yeah, you have to play 3 games.
That was a strange concept. I remember when I first moved here that was a thing still, and that was back in like 2018, I think, 2017, something like that. And you get drawn randomly against like 3 or 4 teams, and you have to play, and dependent on your results is what section you get put into. Basically,
yeah. But the seeds, they had a system to it.
Yeah.
So basically how you finish the season prior.
Okay, so it wasn't seeded. Randomly
So if
drawn.
you're Section C, you're the 3rd seed. If you're Section B, you're the 2nd seed. If you're Section A, you're the 1st seed. And each group, obviously it's basically the teams from 1, 2, and 3.
Because that system to me just did not make any sense. I was always baffled by that because it just... You could have one of those games where if you play badly, you end up in such a low seed compared to where you should be. And then obviously you have one team in the league that's just dicking everyone. So it sounded really flawed to me when I heard it explained for the first time.
It's also a 2-game system. It's a 2-leg system, sorry.
Okay, so 2 legs.
You have 2 tries.
Okay.
So there's a bit more consistency involved.
So,
but I do agree. It's a bit flawed. Might as well keep it.
I like the relegation and promotion system just because, again, it forces clubs to think of longevity instead of just putting all of their money into one age group and putting them into Section A each time.
Getting used to the system, how it is played later on.
Exactly. Getting kids familiar with the format is the most important thing. But as we've seen with the Maltese leagues over the last 2 or 3 years, sometimes they don't really make that much sense. The way the 2-conference setup is being done at the moment, it's crazy. Like
they still haven't settled down after COVID.
I know, and
it's a shame.
The players themselves, you can talk to some people, they don't understand a clue what's going on. Some people celebrate because they think they're getting promoted, and then they realise there's only one team going up that year. Or 5 teams getting relegated, and it's just everyone's just like.
But you have teams getting promoted and not wanting the promotion.
Oh god, yeah, that's another topic. I need to bring someone in from one of those teams. What was it, Pembroke?
Pembroke,
last year. promoted to Premier League and then got themselves relegated all the way down to the bottom.
Only stories that you hear.
Yeah, it's mental. Some of the kind of movements and stuff that you hear over here. So, would you say your time at San Juan was successful?
Definitely. I mean, we won the under-17 leagues and we're runners-up in the knockout finals.
Yeah.
Other than that, was playing minors for most of my days as well.
Who were some of the players in your age group? Like
my age group, off the top of my head, Thomas Peteri, currently playing for Floriana in the Premier. Christian Gauci, playing for Belt. Andrea Zambit, also playing for Belt. Those are the top three that come into my head.
Okay. And would you say your group was like well-rounded, or was it more you had a few main players and the rest of the team was built to kind of support them? I'm always interested in how teams really go about building themselves in Malta.
Basically, in San Juan, we had 3 years of a really good crop of players. And the older players, they were more of a team. They played for each other.
Yeah.
They passed the ball around a lot and they really worked for each other. As you got younger and go through the age group, it was more of skill and talent rather than that team setting.
Okay.
So in my age group specifically, I was in the middle of that crop.
Yeah.
We had a good mix of both, really skillful players, but also we played as a team. We fought for each other. It was some,
because that's one thing that's always impressed me about you. Because I remember we had a brief pre-season together in Mqabba, and then I didn't end up signing. And I remember we lost contact for a little while, and then obviously I brought you back for the fives, and we got back in touch. And that's when I really got to see you play properly, I think. And I started to see you play, and I was like, fucking hell, this guy is like techie, like, because I knew you were a hard worker, and I knew you were good at tackling, and you were a good defensive player. But I'd never really seen you in that small-sided environment to see actually how your skills were on the ball. And I was like, okay, yeah, it makes sense that you've played like national team, because you were fucking, like, you surprised me straight away. And I was like, yeah, this guy is going to be really good for the series. And I mean, it shows the development that you get at a young age. It reflects on ability. But
I appreciate the comments. And I mean, especially when you've been playing it your entire life, you have that sort of intimacy with the ball.
Exactly. It's like you don't have to look at it anymore. You can just play. You know where it is. You're comfortable. You know how strong to touch the ball in order to keep it close by you.
It's like let the ball come to you.
Exactly.
You go to the ball.
So tell me a little bit about the kind of later years of San Juan. Was your intention to stay with them your entire time and just kind of graduate into the senior team, or were you always a little bit like wanting to explore and try and play at a higher level? Because at the time, San Juan would have been in, was it second division? Or were they in first at the time?
So at the time I did get my debut, they were just relegated from first, but I got my debut in the first division still. Yeah. I remember that game 1-1 against Birgu. They were promoted and relegated. So in the later years, that's when I started sort of losing the love for football. Not because it was inherently from my end. It was mainly decisions taken from coaches and just generally being unlucky. Yep. So what happened was I got a lot of promises from the administration that I was going to be playing senior football. I'll be getting a lot of chances and, all of that stuff that most clubs guarantee you. Yeah,
I've heard it many times.
And first year of minors rolls by. I'm training with both seniors and minors. So I'm doing double the training that most people are doing at that time. Yeah. And we've had this coach, and for whatever reason, this coach really did not like me.
Was this minors coach or seniors coach?
Seniors coach.
Seniors coach.
So, I'm a hard worker. I put my all into everything that I do. But for some reason, this coach wasn't having it. And my counterpart at the time, the same left-back, he was a military personnel. Okay. So he was quite physically strong. He was very fit. He was fitter than me, definitely. Yeah. Skill-wise, I would argue that I was better, but again, physical in the second division, you sort of need that.
Yeah.
But basically, it was back and forth, trying to get him to play me, giving my all, and he was just was not having it. And I remember a turning point where I decided that I don't want to stay with San Juan. It was a league game. The left back that was supposed to play woke up sick. He was very visibly ill, and I was like, okay, it's my turn.
chance. Yeah,
You're
you've
gonna
been
give me
waiting
my chance.
patiently.
Exactly. Yeah. And he was talking with the rest of the staff, and he comes back into the dressing room. He switches out the left back for a right winger and brought in, and basically the right winger that was going to start, he played him on right back. And that I was furious after that. I was visibly furious.
Been in that position before.
I could not believe my eyes.
There is nothing more insulting than being, let's say, even when you know you're second string, when it's your time to get on the field,
and
they would rather play someone wildly out of position just to not put you on the field. It's just like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, why?
The excuse, I wasn't experienced enough. But how can I be experienced
if you're never going to play me?
Exactly.
Yeah. Just
this was second division. I'm already like playing against people, 6-7 years older than me.
And let's face it, you've made your debut in the league above.
Exactly. So
don't talk to me about experience. Like even your minors football, your 17s football is going to be a higher level than
second division.
So
yeah, very, very confusing. That was a turning point.
So how old were you at this point? This was your first year of minors, did you say?
Yeah, I was 17. 18. Sorry, 17 actually.
Yeah.
Then I decided to make the switch, basically called around a few clubs. I managed to get a gig at Balzan.
Yeah.
I think Balzan was the best year of my life when it comes to football and just the general
was it a loan move or?
Yes, it was a loan move.
So you would have, at this point, you'd be signed to San Juan, was it for another 4 years?
For another year.
For one more year.
For one more year.
You had that choice to sign
to be a free agent,
your final 2 or 3 years, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so this is like the prime time for you to get out on loan. You need to be playing really because this final year that you have before you can actually choose to sign for someone else, this is that last year to really get yourself out there, get yourself known and make the jump to a team that's going to...
This wasn't even the final year, really. It was in the second year of minors because minors is 3 years. Made the switch to Balzan and played it was difficult to begin with in the first week because they had physical training. And in San Juan, we didn't really do that much physical.
More technical, right?
Not small and technical, but we didn't really do those long runs, those endurance runs and stuff like that. So in the first week of preseason with Balzan, I struggled a bit, but quickly got used to it. And then we had our first friendly. It was the minors versus the 17s.
Okay.
And I really shined. I mean, it felt like I was broken out of a cage. Mm-hmm. And I really played with all my heart then. So much so that I got the attention of the senior coach of Balzan.
Ah, good.
And quickly after I joined Balzan, I started training with the seniors.
Yeah.
And basically spent an entire year training with Premier level players.
I think sometimes it really helps when you have that kind of experience of being kept on the side with... It builds a burning desire in you that when you do finally get the chance, but you need that chance.
Yeah.
If you don't ever get that chance, then you just have all of this
just
determination built up inside you, but you can't actually express it. But like you said, when you do finally get that chance to go out and express yourself, you want to take it that much more. It makes you that much more driven to show yourself in a good light because you know it's okay. Fuck, I might not ever play again if I don't take this chance.
I was playing football that I never learned before.
Yeah.
At nurseries and stuff. It was an experience for sure.
So you got the attention of the senior coach and started training with the seniors. So this is all within. Is this still your first year or second year?
Yeah, this was within a few weeks of me joining the club. I mean the Section A group at that time, they were coming off winning the championship of last year. But the year after we're top mid, so fourth, third in the league.
Okay.
Something like that.
Who was the coach at the time?
Alejandro Pantoja.
Okay, so
For minors. For seniors, God, I forgot his name. Bald English dude.
bald English dude, Mark Miller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one.
I think he's the only bald English guy I know over here, apart from myself.
Yeah, Mark Miller.
I've heard good things about Mark. I've had a few players on that have been coached by him. They say he's got like a very strong attitude towards like his way. It's like you have to follow quite a strict policy, but for the most part, I've heard positive things about him.
He's more of a hype man, so to speak. He knows how to get his players riled up, and like play with determination. Some tactics. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to question a Premier League coach, but you know, I've had my concerns over some tactics, but it's whatever. I was getting, you know, exposure, exactly. Premier level training. I really made the jump to the player that I am today. With
what were his training sessions like? As a young player, were they good for you to kind of get involved and express yourself, or did you feel at times you were kind of...
Yeah, I mean, he gave us free reign, especially the younger ones. He would tell us, you know, don't be afraid, pass the ball, play the way you play.
That's the one thing I hate about some coaches and even players, when you see the young players come into training and they try to like make them the same as everyone else, or like they try to make them play safe because they don't want them to risk losing the ball. And I'm like, no, let them learn, like let them get out, express themselves, discover what works, what doesn't, because half the stuff they're doing at minors football doesn't work at seniors because players either have too much experience for it to work or they're just too strong and will just shove you off the ball if you try and do little things. But you need to learn.
Exactly. If you need to learn the hard way.
If you
There's
don't
no shortcuts around it.
You have to have that baptism of fire where you are just thrown in and, okay, sink or swim, go and figure out what your play style is.
Yeah.
Because that's your time to really develop character on the ball.
Exactly. No, definitely. And that's something that Balzan did really well. They let us express ourselves in any way we wanted, really.
Who were some of the players in the team at that time, the kind of big names of Balzan in the Premier?
Steve Pisani.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he was my coach for 4 years in San Juan.
Okay.
So from under 15 to under 17.
So that must have made the transition quite helpful going into the senior team, having a friendly face, someone that you know. Very
friendly face. He's by far my favorite coach that I ever had. He made me really fall in love with football. God, I'm trying to remember all the faces. It's been a while now. Well, I don't want to say any names, because I have, for example, you know, the first name or the last name, but I can't like piece together both of them because it's been a while now.
I mean, how long ago was that now? It's 4 years, 3 years?
This was right before COVID. The same season that it got cancelled early.
Okay, that year.
It was that year. Again, one of the demoralizing years, as I was going to get my Premier debut that year.
Oh God, of course. Do you know what? I never thought of that. Like, there's so many players in your age group that as you're coming through, you're just about to really hit the ground running, get your momentum where it needs to be, and like break through into senior football. And it was like 2 years of just non-stop, stop and start.
Yeah,
that's so shit for development.
It really is, and it was so demoralizing knowing that I was going to get my Premier debut that year, and right on the game that I was going to play.
No, it was the game as well. Fuck. So you were just about to make your debut in Premier League with Balzan. Do you remember the match? Do you remember who it was against or any of the details?
Not that specific details, but we've never played that match because the league got cancelled.
What sort of time of year was it? It was midway through or towards the end of the season?
I'd say towards the end of the season. It was around this time, like February, March, I think.
That was when all the arguments sparked about 75% of the season hadn't been completed or something. And in order to crown champions or relegate teams and stuff, they had to have, like, legally by FIFA, I think it was, you have to have completed
75%.
75% of the league in order to make things official. But then that was the year that I remember, I think Ormy got relegated, because I was at Ormy in Challenge League and they'd got relegated, even though technically 75% of the season hadn't gone. And that was their argument, although they were miles relegated. Like, it was so obvious they were going down.
They didn't need 75%.
Exactly, they didn't need it, which is why they actually got relegated. But I remember Tarshin, I think, managed to survive Premier because of that rule.
Yeah.
But then in other leagues, the other teams that were in the relegation zone didn't get relegated, but Ormy did. And Ormy got really, really angry about it, tried to go against it, I think. But it was an interesting season, that.
It was.
Because I think there was someone running away with the league at the top. And it might have been in Challenge. That was it. Was it Marsa in Challenge League?
I think that Marsa was in second division, running away with the second division.
And they would not let them get promoted, would they? Yeah, there was some real arguments that got started because of the COVID period.
So many arguments.
But yeah, how does it feel? Kind of, how do you recover from that? Because that's such a blow to take. Like, at 18 years old you would have been at that time, about to make your Premier League debut, and then obviously it all being taken away from you, and not just the opportunity being taken away, but the whole football season being taken away.
It's really hard to bounce back from it. But eventually, with time, everything heals. So
how long was the layoff then? It would have been 3 or 4 months without football at that point, or was it longer?
Something like that, until pre-season starts. So it was around that time. However, we did keep in touch. We do Zoom sessions,
I remember those.
So we got our training in like that.
I used to freeze my camera. Oh, sorry, connection problems. I did not like that kind of training. I like being outside.
Yeah, it's not the same, obviously, but it gets you moving.
Yeah. I think I had to plan a few of those as well. I remember when I was coaching at Fagora and I'd gone back to the UK, and I had to host a few of those hit sessions over webcam. Those were funny, man. I hate that style of training. It's just, I don't find it relatable to football in any way.
Yeah.
It's good for core. It's good for
it's good for general
physical strength and general kind of stuff. But when it comes to being related to football, just nothing to do with it.
Nothing at all.
I'm quickly going to pause because I remembered I didn't shut that door. And I don't want the outside interfering with audio, because I know I've got some fucking diggers and stuff outside.
They've been going at this road for ages now, no?
So long. Honestly, they will not shut up. Since February. I'm just going to carry on rolling because I want to moan about this. I want it documented.
Hey, it's a podcast, not just a football
February, man. February, they've been digging up my entire road. Apparently there was some problem with the plumbing systems and the pipes. So not only did they dig them up and do them, they then had to re-dig them up and redo them. And for 2 months now, non-stop, 7 o'clock in the morning till 8 p.m, there has been the diggers, there's been the jackhammers, there's been random bulldozers just flattening. But if you actually look at the state of the road outside, it looks like shit.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it does.
It does. Generally looks like a third world country outside my house right now. And
I hate that you're right.
It's so annoying to try and record. The amount of times I've gone to go and record audio for the fives, and then all I can hear outside is and I'm just it's not the one. All right, put it on hold until 10 p.m. at night. Right, rant over. Fuck you, Nishar. Pick a better time. So you've come back from COVID off season. Tell me how it is when you kind of rejoin team for pre-season again.
Yeah, so
you're not at Balzan anymore, I take it. You've had to.
I was in between the decision. I got offered three contracts. One was with Balzan.
Yeah.
I had a contract with Mqabba, and San Juan also wanted me back.
Okay. So this would have been about the time that we met then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically I talked with all the managers there, and I came to the ultimate decision that I needed the exposure into senior football.
Yeah.
So I was going to look elsewhere from Balzan. because with Balzan I was going to train with the seniors, but play predominantly with minors.
Yeah.
So I sort of looked elsewhere and went with Mqabba.
So you are 19 years old right
19
now, right?
years old, yeah.
And this is where you make a choice for the last 3 years, and then you're locked into that club, right? You can't...
For 2 years.
So it's a 2-year contract, registration we'll call it, because I think that's how they do it. But then because that's your final registration, how does it work? You can't actually leave the team until someone pays all your compensation fees, right? For a pro contract or something.
I think that's that's the contract before those 2 years. You pay the compensation. After those 2 years, you basically just sign with the club. And if they don't want to renew the contract, you're a free agent.
Okay, so right now you would be
contracted with Mqabba.
You're still with Mqabba,
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's where me and Danny met.
It was under Goran, right?
Goran, yeah.
Yeah. I remember, it was funny how I got into that team. I remember I was sat at home feeling miserable because I'd just finished a really shit experience with Ormy. And I was like, man, I can't do this again. I can't sit with this team that doesn't want me and just sit on the bench again for another year. I think I'd been in Malta for 3 years at this point, and I'd played 25 minutes in total in 3 seasons. And I'm like, at this point, I'm starting to question myself. I'm like, am I really that shit of a player? Like, I've been everywhere and I cannot get a game. And I ended up getting a phone call from Tommy, because I'd known him from Tarshin, and we'd been in Premier together at Tarshin, and we always had this thing where everyone used to get us confused because obviously we're both bald. The only difference was he was twice the size of me, built like an absolute machine.
And Italian.
We used to play fullback together, so I would be on one side, he would be on the other. It was just funny just seeing us bombing up and down together. But
you're always holding the back four,
Yeah.
You're playing back five, but he's always up and you're holding the back four.
And we used to work really well together. We got on really well. And I remember he was like, oh, Dan, I can help you here. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, Goran's a good friend of mine. I know him. He's trusted me. I'm going to go and obviously be in the team. I can put in a word for you and you come training. So I was like, yeah, do it. I'm thinking, okay, chance to get back into Challenge League. Don't really want to drop down into amateur. Because I'm thinking at this point, I'm like, if I drop down to amateur without having played in any of the leagues above now, I am an amateur player. That really kind of screws up any chance of moving back up. So I think I turned up to training just before pre-season started. I think that was when I joined.
There were a bunch of trial players then.
So many people there, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It was actually my second time trialing with Mqabba as well. I remember, I think it was 2 years before I went to go and sign with them, but then what's his name? Matthew Brinkat. I call him the Maltese Hazard. He looks identical to Hazard's brother. But I remember he showed up at the same time as me. And we were under the understanding that they wanted both of us and they were going to sign the both of us. I didn't realise that it was literally like a direct competition trial. So he ended up taking the spot, and then I was left to then go and find Fagora, but he helped me out with that. So that was fine. Me and him have been friends. But yeah, so tell me about how you ended up with Mqabba. You've agreed the contract with them. They've promised you more game time in the senior team.
Yeah, they basically told me that I was going to be sort of one of the main players, that there will be probably rotation and stuff.
Because they had a really young team that year, right? They recruited.
We were the youngest team that year, probably a mean age of 21, 22. Something.
And that's including 35-year-old players.
Yeah.
So really the age of the team was super young. I think at that time, was it that time where they'd made the mistake of they'd promised so many young players that they would be playing seniors that they ended up not really having enough space in the seniors, and a lot of the players ended up getting kind of relegated into playing minors football. And I think a lot of players were unhappy. I remember hearing that they were being forced to play minors when they'd been promised to play seniors.
Yeah, I think not necessarily because there wasn't the space. The minors ordeal was more because they wanted to stay in Section B. So they were forcing the people eligible that were playing with seniors to also play in the minors.
Because there were some talented young players in that starting lineup for seniors.
There were. I still remember.
Who were
that
some of the
time.
boys that we were playing with there? I remember a few of the names, but I'm trying to.
I mean,
picture
off
their
the top of my
faces.
head already, Omar Khatib.
Yeah,
He-
I remember him. He was what, centre midfielder?
Yeah. Really
Absolutely
good.
awesome on the ball. Is he playing for anyone still right now, or what happened?
I think he's still with Mqabba, if I'm not mistaken.
because what he's
I haven't kept
is
up.
he your age?
Yeah. No, a year older than
A
me.
year older than you. He must be like should be his like breakthrough kind of. He should have been broken through by
Mm-hmm.
now and be. I've not really heard much about him since.
But that's the thing with Mqabba as well. I mean, I don't mean it in an offensive way, but I don't think you're really ever going to get a breakthrough with a club like that. And obviously, no disrespect, but I think mainly because the way the club is run, also lack of funds as well. Like that's definitely a few factors of why players from that club don't really get recognized.
Yeah, it's a shame because there's a few clubs like that where they have one or two really, really talented players that you just think deserve more of a spotlight on them, but for whatever reason they just kind of fade out. They either stay at that club for too long and kind of get trapped there,
Yeah.
or they're just not really on that platform big enough to showcase what they're about.
Exactly, and it doesn't help that year specifically as well. We were fighting relegation.
It was always going to be a tough year with such a young squad.
It was.
I think Goran came in with quite ambitious tactics for the team that he had.
Ambitious tactics and ambitious goals even. He was, before the season even started, he was aiming,
Yeah.
top 3,
I remember
that
I
sort of
remember the
thing.
way he was talking about the season, and
Yeah.
I don't know, it seemed unrealistic from the outside. Obviously I think I had a month or two there, a month and a half with you guys, and the team was good. It had a lot of individual players that were good, but I just feel like, again,
Obviously, we weren't going to be a team at that time because the entire squad is new.
exactly.
So you need playing time to get there.
And the tactics he wanted to deploy at the time with the players he had literally just assembled.
Yeah.
Like, you need a team that's been together for a while, especially at the back. Defensively, it was a 3-back formation, right? With 2 wing backs that were like midfielders, but
Sort of. We started with 4 at the back, and then later on the season, I think we played sort of the 3 at the back / 5 at the back, and it worked out, and we kept playing that system till the rest of the season. And yeah, I started my journey from left back at Mqabba, and then like worked my way towards the center.
Yeah.
So I was a center half for, I think, half the season. I think it was Mqabba. I took a long while to really break in and like really play the way I used to play at Balzan.
yeah. Would you have been competing then directly with Tommy for left back?
Yeah. Yeah, more or less.
So I mean,
There was a bit of a rotation, but especially in the beginning part of the season, he would get preferred over me. But then
it's difficult
I
competing.
sort of won that spot a bit at the end.
difficult competing with a player that's kind of
So experienced.
so experienced. Obviously, he'd played at 2 or 3 Premier League clubs in Malta. His career outside of Malta was good as well. Like, and being such a well-known player that's good friends with the coach, it's difficult to try and displace them early in the season. So, again, you're back in a position where you've joined a club to get kind of instant first-team football, and then you've got direct competition with someone that's
But at least that competition was against someone that had an idea of football. And it was in a higher league.
a fair.
So that
competition.
was a fair
yeah.
competition, unlike the one I experienced earlier.
And you can learn a lot from someone like Tommy. Honestly, he's such
Me and Tommy were good friends.
a good guy,
We're
real good guy.
friendly competitors.
Yeah.
We never had beef with each other.
And
We
as a
never-
young player, that's exactly what you want, is an old, experienced player who's been and done it at the highest level to learn from,
Exactly.
take notes from. And he, to his credit, was always happy to share. I remember him giving gym advice to like half the team at one point. There was one boy that just would not leave him alone. Constantly, oh, Tommy, what do I do at the gym here? What do I do to get big like you? What do I do to get big like you?
He did boxing as well.
Yeah, he's done loads of things.
Crazy one.
So, first year of Mqabba, would you say successful year or?
Definitely successful after the first quarter. I was I don't know what happened in that first quarter. I think I wasn't too, I was a bit slow. I was a bit sluggish. I don't exactly know. I think I was still trying to recover from the season prior.
Yeah. And I mean, let's face it, COVID had its effects on everyone.
Definitely, yes.
Physically,
yes.
the amount of breaks and stopping and starting.
It sort of took me a while to like really, start up the engine,
I know a lot of players, just like you said, felt sluggish going back and just in general, like didn't feel themselves. And it's only like now that people are even starting to feel a bit more like themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, and then around October, November, I remember we had a game against Starshin because they were in Challenge League at the time.
Yeah.
And I just remember having such a good game. I remember the tackling was on point. I was running up and down the field. I haven't played like that since Balzan. So it was nice.
It's a rewarding feeling, isn't it? It's a rewarding feeling when you start to feel yourself again.
Yep. And yeah, that's basically when I really started getting more minutes and even starting some games as well.
Yeah.
So
you're picking up momentum going into the second half of the season.
Yeah.
How did the team finish in the end?
We survived.
Yeah.
We fought relegation. We won. And then the year after, that's basically when I stopped football. I started training. Pre-season, I think I did about a month and a half, and I had it up to here with football. So I couldn't.
So what exactly was the thing that kind of turned it for you? Obviously, you've had a bit of shit luck up until this point.
We're talking about shit luck. We haven't even grazed national team at this point.
Yeah,
I had a lot of bad experiences with national team.
We'll go into national team after we finish. Let's go club football first.
Club football, yeah. Basically, my issue was that a lot of players sort of didn't take it as seriously as I was, and that really angers me, and that frustrates me a lot. Sort of, if I'm giving my all, if I'm watching the way I eat, if I'm not going out with my friends.
Yeah, you at least want other people to be matching you. Like you're in it together then.
Exactly.
It makes it a bit more bearable.
How is it fair that, you went out clubbing a day before the match and I stayed in trying to focus on the match?
Do you know what? That angers me so much. So much when someone turns up and you can see visibly they are fucked. And then they go in to give their shittest performance of the season. And the worst is when the coach doesn't address it. I've had it where players basically can do whatever the fuck they like. And you're just looking at it like, what are we doing?
That's a problem here in Malta, preferential treatment. Some players are just babied their entire way. And they have no accountability where there needs to be accountability.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's how you learn how to turn football into a career, because it stops being fun. It becomes your work, your job. If you turn up to work like that and don't do any work that day, you get told to fuck off.
Yeah.
Whereas in football, there seems to be just that lack of punishment at times and lack of accountability for people, and it allows them to just grow into big babies that do nothing. And
it's even worse when they start at a younger age. When you're starting, before the age of 12 especially. You're just going to get very spoiled players.
There's nothing worse than a spoiled brat on the football pitch,
Yeah, that was one of the reasons. I wasn't really happy with the training at the time as well, sort of.
What specifically about the training?
I don't know. I think me and the coach had different visions.
Okay. Was it like lack of intensity in the training, or more to do with the actual drills and stuff that were being done?
Lack of intensity from the player side.
Yeah.
Drills... I'm pretty sure the drills were good. We had some pretty good, some really fun drills, especially when it comes to endurance and stuff.
Yeah.
The two pitches basically. You do like 5 passes, then you switch the ball.
Yeah.
Lots of running like that. So I have no qualms with the training. But the pitch was horrible. You remember the pitch.
Oh my God. You know what? Until that pitch got relayed, what was it, like 2 years later? That pitch was one of the worst in Malta. I hated that pitch. And I've had to train on it so many times. I remember I did pre-season with Tarshin, and because they were redoing their pitch, we had to rent Mqabba. And I remember turning up to the first day of training. I've never gone through so many pairs of football boots trying to figure out which ones I can actually wear on that turf. The only pitch that's worse than that, Gargoyle.
Really?
Gargoyle's pitch is dreadful. They're getting it relayed, I think, this summer. Finally, I think the MFA.
I would have thought.
No, honestly, I tell you, this pitch in Gargoyle right now, it's like concrete. There is not like this is better than the pitch.
Because I never really played on it, but I passed like next to it and like from the top. I mean, it looks better than Mqabba, that's for sure.
It's like concrete, man. It's concrete.
Mqabba was more
sandpaper. Mqabba was like sandpaper.
Yeah.
You fall over, your leg is gashed.
I never dare doing a sliding
Never.
tackle. Unless I'm wearing like, sweatpants or like something.
I would not
full-legged.
ever. And I would like back out of 50-50s to the point where if I think I'm going to fall over after the 50-50, fuck it, have the ball. I don't want to fall over on this pitch.
I'd like to keep my skin, thank you very much.
Honestly, the amount of times I'd go home with just like a thing on my knee like that. And it takes weeks to recover. It just doesn't recover. It just carries on opening every training session, every game. And yeah, horrible times on pitches.
And the bigger it is, the worse it is, because the inside, like the center, doesn't want to close.
Exactly, yeah. Man, I could not imagine training a full season on that pitch.
Yeah, it was a battle. It was one of the battles.
So it wasn't even, was it? It was uneven as well, right?
Yeah, I think you had better luck playing on just the random ass field in Malta than playing on that pitch.
Just pause. Let this fucking cunt bipping his own. Right. And carry on. Yeah. Oh my God.
Timing could not have been any more perfect.
Do you know what I mean? No, it's just like, why? What is the necessary like to bib like that? Just shut up, do your job, and go home. It's too hot for this. But yeah, so you've gone a month into pre-season, not really feeling the vibe.
Yeah, and obviously I'm carrying sort of a bunch of setbacks that I had.
Yeah.
And then at that point especially, I think I was going through it mentally as well. That was one of the driving factors. I think I had a mental slump, not just with football, just in life in general.
Yeah.
And
happens to the best of us. And it's very hard to pull yourself out.
It's really, really hard to pull myself out. But looking back on it, I think stopping was the right decision. Mm-hmm. Since then on, I managed to get out of that mental slump.
Spend a bit of time working on yourself. And
Yeah. You see, in that time, I realized that I do love football.
Yeah.
I just couldn't bring myself to get back into it the way I was playing it.
Yeah.
The fives are perfect. I think the fives probably are my favorite thing at the moment. I can play with high quality players, without having that commitment and that mental drain.
That's it. That's what I really wanted to get with it. It's just, I find football at the low level in Malta, the fact they want you to train like a professional player still on a professional schedule of 3, 4, 5 days a week. It's overload.
After a full days of work.
It's just too much, man. Like, either pay me enough money to make this my job or just don't expect that much from me. Like, let me come once a week. In England, I feel like they've got a really good balance for low league football.
They do.
You make decent amount of money, but you only have to turn up 1 week of training, one training a week, and then you have 2 games a week. You have like a Tuesday cup game if there's a cup, and then you play on the Saturday.
Exactly.
And it allows you to just relax, enjoy your football, you recover, you get time for recovery and stuff like that. Otherwise, like, you see so many players here just trained into the ground and they don't get a break.
Yeah.
Especially young players, because they're being expected to train seniors, minors. What if they're 17s at the time? They expect them to train with the 17s as well.
Yeah.
2-3 games a week.
We've had complaints before when I was still at San Juan. We were having senior games, and directly after, because our games were on a Monday night, we'd go and train, just do the normal set pieces, build up plays. You know how the training before a game is, but it's still draining.
It's too much.
You've just spent 3 hours at a game, because obviously you have to be there an hour and a half, and then you have another 2 hours of the game, and then directly after you have to go train.
Get no time for social life. You can't go out with your mates because you've got training or game the next day. Like, it's so tough mentally.
Social life is gone, and even just trying to do other hobbies,
Mm-hmm.
it was.
I've felt a massive weight lifted off my shoulders since I stopped playing MFA football.
Yeah.
Just, I feel so much more relaxed. There's so much more time to do things that I want to do, work on projects that I've been wanting to do for ages. And it's been really freeing to kind of just have that time off.
Definitely. I mean, when I actually decided to stop, that was the second time I wanted to stop. The first time I wanted to stop was, when that whole ordeal with San Juan happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that I really took it negatively then, especially because I was coming off the national team.
Yeah.
And we went to play the qualifiers and I did not get a single minute.
Let's talk about the national team. What sort of age did they start to take notice of you?
So when I played, the age group was under 15, the first time you actually get to play with national teams.
Yeah.
Ever since, I think they've introduced under 13s now, and I think even like some slightly younger age groups. But at the time, it was under 15.
Was the National Sports School a thing at that time? Were they?
Yes. That started like a year or two prior. And I actually did trials for that, but I was in no physical state to compete with the other people there. But, a year passes, 2 years passed, and
it's good. Just
we started
again, even having trials with it, at least you're on the radar. You know that, okay, this is the level, this is what I need to get to.
So basically how it happened was the MFA calls up your club and they tell you these specific players are selected for a trial. And it was 2 trial sessions in total. So you have the first trial, and it's like a big crop of players, and then they shortlist into the second trials. The thing about the sports school is that whoever was in the sports school skipped the first trial.
Yeah.
So they go directly into the second spot. And basically I just went through both trials and they selected me, thankfully. And, we're training and stuff. The first year was good. I mean, I think I did 2 years of under 15 and then we moved on to under 17. Under 17 was when I started facing some real adversity from the coaches. The national team was plagued with provincialism. They preferred certain players just because of the name, or they were friends with their dads, stuff like that.
I find when you kind of mix football at that, let's say, elite level, it's just in a small country like Malta, it's just there's so much room for political influence and corruption and just, like you said, favoritism.
Yeah, and they didn't understand the importance of a rotation.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the national team. I doubt the substitutes are going to be way worse. It's not club football.
These are the best players in the country. Officially.
You have the best crop of players at the moment. Like, if you rotate them, you're going to get the same results.
Exactly.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Because the starters were never really getting,
and let's face it,
any results
in Malta. One, like you said, results. The level gap between the top teams and Malta is massive.
It is. It really is.
The player skill level in Malta isn't that high. There's no one that you would look at and go, wow, you are like the Wayne Rooney. You know what I mean? It's like, and everyone is within a certain range of ability. There might be some players that are better, but I
want to disagree with you on that, because what makes the Maltese players not as good as the rest, as the rest of Europe, for example, is their decision making. Because I know for a fact, technically, with their feet, I think Maltese player, if they're not on par with other players abroad, they're slightly below par, but not too far off, But I think it's their decision making. And that camera has no setting?
Do you know what? It's weird because it records 29 minutes at a time, and most cameras you just expect to carry on. But I don't know what's wrong with it. Like, there's just no setting to make it continuously record, because the actual SD card's got 2.5 hours worth of recording to it. But using it to record football matches and stuff is so annoying, because
I can imagine.
Obviously a half is 45 minutes. So you always get that little delay where you then have to quickly press record again. But it's a weird one. But we were just talking about, obviously, national team and players ability levels. I agree with you in terms of technical ability. I think technical ability of professional footballers, except obviously the likes of someone like a Thiago or like a Ronaldinho, the ones that really are at the highest level of
Just
their
a different
technical
breed.
ability. Like, there's not that big of a gap technically between footballers from even like in England. You'd look at a League Two footballer compared to like a Championship or Premier League football. Technically, there's not
much
separating them. It's physical. It's like you said, decision making. It's how fast their thought of speed is.
Coaching, tactics, and that stuff also plays. How well you gel with your teammates as well.
But again, that's why I think when it comes to rotation in the kind of like you were saying, there should not be anyone afraid to rotate players because like the difference between the star player in the team and the worst player in the team, technically it's minimal.
Exactly.
Absolutely minimal. You're not going to suddenly go out 10 men because you've got a player that can't play. Otherwise, why is he there?
Yeah.
If your players are that bad on the bench, why are they there? Because
Exactly.
it's not hard to find 20 footballers in the same country that are at least within a certain range of each other's ability. Like,
Definitely.
Imagine someone like England going out and refusing to change Jordan Henderson because they're like, oh no, we've got no one that can play anywhere near to his level. It's like, come on, you've got so many players that they might not give you exactly what Hendy gives you,
but they can give you stuff that Henderson can't.
Exactly. And that's the point of rotation, is just to keep kind of moving things around and offer something different in the game. If the game's not going positively, that's the time to just, okay, fuck it, put a player on that's a bit faster or a bit stronger or a bit better on the ball, see if we can change something.
Yeah, and that's just one of the things that like football here in Malta is like done very poorly. It is truly is done very poorly, sort of.
I find it's quite a gatekept like community. Like, unless you know the coaches and like you've played, I've found the hardest struggle I've had is because I never played any youth football here.
Mm-hmm.
I came in as like an unknown quantity, and people are just never willing to put something on the field that they don't know exactly what they're getting out of it.
Yeah.
And you just end up training your entire life without ever really seeing the field because everyone's always just using the fact that you've not played in their eyes
as an excuse. Yeah, and that really sucks. I mean, even the amount of clubs there are in Malta, we're such a small country. We don't need 4 leagues.
No.
We don't need 4 leagues. If, for example, a few towns sort of agreed on having one team together, get all the funds together, that's already a step in the right direction, just to get more money. Because obviously you need money to sort of better your players and stuff like that. But, money aside, I don't think that there's too much of a push from the Maltese side to go play abroad.
No.
Because
people are too comfortable living in Malta. They don't really have that desire to go abroad.
The thing.
They might in their head think, oh, I'd love to play in Europe one day. But what do they actually do to make steps towards it happening? How do the clubs support them doing it? How do the MFA try to help their players get better coaching and get better opportunities? They don't.
Before we're going to get some extremely wealthy investors to invest in, some random farmers club, the push should be to get players outside of the country, the same way Iceland does it.
Exactly.
Iceland have a very good national team because most of their players play outside of the country.
Exactly.
So there needs to be that push until we can start getting funds and we can start sort of building our own set of players,
Well, you've seen now the switch in mentality. Before, obviously, the national team was just Maltese players based in Malta. It's only recently that they've realised, oh, actually, let's do what most of the kind of African and Caribbean islands do, which is, oh, who's got citizenship? Who can we get citizenship that's been trained and is already a finished product outside of Malta? So now you've seen the likes of, I think it's James Brown, Jody Jones, and all these guys that have been trained abroad. Teddy
Thelma.
Yeah.
I mean, he's Maltese born, so...
But
he's playing outside.
They spend their entire life basically outside of Malta getting trained by professional clubs in other countries. And suddenly when they come over, the level of like, oh shit, okay, this is what it's like when you actually are trained and treated like a professional athlete your entire life.
And I want to bring up the point of Teddy Teuma. My point earlier about the gap in players not being that big technically is because I compared Teddy Teuma, who's playing, first league Belgian football, quite a high league, quite a prestigious league, to his teammates.
I mean, I think he's even moved to League One now, and he's like carried on the progression in League One.
Yeah.
And like you said, like there are players in the Maltese national team that are as good as him on the ball.
Yeah, exactly. It's just obviously the luck plays as a factor there, but there's no willingness and no seriousness from the Maltese side.
To partner luck, you have to have right time, right place, but the players don't put themselves in the right place.
Exactly. Like you're not going to get recognized on the first try, but if you keep going at it at one point.
There's that agent at the moment, I think it's Pro Sports Malta or something. They've been working a lot with the women's football and bringing a lot of the women's footballers over to Italy.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's just nothing really built in the same way for men's footballers. We should be looking at getting the best 15-year-old footballers in the country on their 16th birthdays out abroad, going and trying at these different clubs abroad so that they can really develop in those final stages. Because I've seen footballers over here in Malta at 7, 8, 9 years old. They are fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Like the best players I've ever seen in my life at that age group. And I've coached in America, I've coached in England, I've coached in Malta. And these players are fucking unbelievable technically. Like some of the stuff they can do with the ball is outrageous.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, where do they go in the system? Because they should be like generational type talents, like at least breaking through Premier League and destroying the Maltese leagues. But by the time they're 16, 17, you just wouldn't have even heard of them before. Like they either lose the love of the game or they're just kind of not exposed to that next level of coaching they need. And they just get crappy, mediocre coaching their entire life, which just, again, as you get to that point where you need to keep increasing the gap of your skill level, instead of increasing, they can't anymore because they've hit their ceiling with the current coaching and like access they have, that the rest of the players close the gap and they become just the same as everyone else.
Yeah, the Maltese culture is not made for team sports, especially. Individual sports, it's all about the person, If the person is very determined, they can progress and they can reach high levels. But when it comes to team sports, it's a different ballgame.
The short-term success of the club is just so much more valuable to the club than actually producing generational talent that will help the country progress.
Yeah. And the country is so divided when it comes to this stuff as well. It always looks for its own benefit. It doesn't say, let's try and be better as a country. Let's try and compete with better countries. No, it's just
me.
Yeah.
How can I profit from this?
Yeah, I want Challenge League. Whoa.
Oh, my under 15s won Section D. Yes. We've made it, boys. It's like, okay.
Long balls only. Let's go, lads.
Okay, you won Section D, but now you get instantly relegated from Section C the following year because you've not even considered what you're doing the next year with the next group of boys that have to take over. The amount of times you see teams just ping-ponging in the divisions at the youth level because their academies aren't even like foundationally structured. They have one talented age group that get them a few promotions, and then the next age group that come through are just absolute shit.
Yeah.
Are just so under trained, they just plummet back down the divisions, and it really hurts the progression of everything here.
It does.
So let's get back on track with your kind of international experience. So you said that you'd started to flirt with the national team in under 15s.
Yeah.
And how was the setup then? Talk me through the process of when you're kind of getting the chances to train with the team. How often are you meeting?
So at the time I was training about 4 or 5 times a week with the club.
Yeah.
But I think if I remember correctly, it was on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I would go up at the Ali and train with the national team.
Yeah.
So it would be excused from club training.
Okay.
So that was the setup for quite a long time.
And how many kind of kids were there at this time in the squad for those training sessions?
I would want to say around like 23, 25.
Okay. Yeah.
About 25. Because I remember whenever we have a friendly game or something along those lines, or either a development tournament, people always got left out. So the squad was always bigger than the actual squad you bring to the tournament or to the friendly.
Who were some of the players in that age group then? So for under 15s national team?
So Owen Spiteri, Sheldon Mitzi, Karl Mohnani, Jordan Kelly, Mattia Veselgi, Gianluca Shiberas, Sheldon Mitzi. There was Jake Bone as well for a short period of time as well. Yeah. Oh, of course, Jake Engerer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some pretty good players.
And how was the kind of rotation at this point with the squad itself? Was it just the same group the entire time, or would you see a lot of different opportunities for, like, let's say, fringe players changing in and out each time?
When it came to training, we never really had any insertions or removals from the group. So it was just the set of players. When it came to making the decision of who's going to be left out, it was usually like some redundant players. Maybe there were a bit more midfielders than they needed. So it was like trying to make the decision on who's in form and who's not. Yeah. So it was sort of that. And then when we got into under 17, that sort of training stopped.
How does it work as you promote through the age group? Is it just a case of, okay, a year goes by, these players that were already with us just move up, or is it a case of like reselection completely again? Typically, most of the players will be reselected, but is it just a case of everyone into a pool again and the coaches?
So under 15 was the first sort of, with the trials and stuff, that's the only age group you do that.
Okay, so that's kind of your chance to get yourself on the radar.
However, when you start moving from age group to age group, and especially the older you get, the more rotations there are.
Yeah.
Because people are scouting more, and
you're starting to see players play at senior level, minors level.
Exactly. And there's a lot more exposure, recorded games.
You might look at someone and go, oh, yeah, give them a week.
Exactly. Yeah. So you see a lot more rotations the older you get. In under 17, we stopped doing the 2 training session a week thing, and would get called up like 2 weeks, 3 weeks beforehand.
There's more camps, right?
More camps, yeah. So for example, whenever we had a friendly, we'd always get called up for 2-3 weeks.
Prior, do training specifically for those matches.
Specifically for those matches, or tournaments.
So at 15s level, had you been called and played at all, or how did it work?
We had a few friendlies. We had a development tournament that we won.
Yeah. And how included in the squad were you at this time?
Oh, very included.
Yeah.
I mean, I played basically, if we had 3 games, I think I played a game and a half.
Okay.
So the rotation back then was pretty good. Yeah. But then when you get too competitive side, they're so narrow-minded. They always want, okay, these are the best players we have for this week. We're going to milk them. And then just leave the rest of the squad just
doing nothing.
Yeah, drying out.
So you're at 17s level, and how many tournaments did they play or games did they play around that time?
Under 17s, you said? So under 17s, we're preparing for the qualifiers.
Yeah. And this is for is it World Championships or European Championships?
I'm pretty sure it's European Championships. I think they're held every year.
Yeah.
And I think we played 2 games against Montenegro within like a 2-day time frame.
Yeah.
I think we flew out. We played the Nioro Rocco tournament. It was in Italy. We played against the likes of Red Star Belgrade.
Yeah.
And teams like that. We also played against Bologna and Napoli.
Okay, that's a fun experience.
Yeah, it was. We drew, I think, with Bologna and Napoli as well. It was a 1-1 and 0-0 draw against both of them.
So at this point, are you included in the squad but not getting on the field, or how is it working? Because you said that your experience with the national team, as you started to get through the older age groups, started to take a turn for the worse.
Yeah. Under 17 arguably was the worst year in the from under 15 to under 19. I mean,
Yeah.
and it was mainly because of the qualifiers. So at that point in time, when I mentioned the New York tournament, I was still getting playtime. As we're edging closer to the qualifiers, I started getting less and less playtime. Started getting, pushed to the side.
And were they kind of feedbacking to you while they were doing that, or did they just keep silent
From
hope
time
that you stayed happy?
They would never go up to me and tell me, this is what you have to improve.
Mm-hmm.
It was always me who was going up to them, asking, what am I doing wrong? What can I do better?
And what sort of feedback would they give you there? Was it helpful, or did you just think they were just palming you off with an excuse? So I find a lot of coaches can just tell you what you want to hear rather than actually telling you what you need to hear.
I don't know what to make of it. I mean, what they said was right. They never really worked one-on-one with me to fix it, though.
Mm-hmm.
It was, you're lacking in this attribute, and that's it. They don't tell me what I can do. They don't tell me, call us up. We can help you fix this.
Mm-hmm.
We can improve. We can improve your traits.
Were they doing that
never...
with other players?
I want to say only the ones that went to Schola Sport, because the same coaches that were coaching us
were then coaching them. Okay.
So it was sort of that.
They might have a bit more favoritism towards the players that they are coaching on a weekly basis rather than just for the 3 weeks.
And you get to know them better as well, more than the other players.
Yeah.
So it was that.
Who were the coaches at the time?
Mark Marlowe and Noel Turner.
Okay, Noel is the one that went to Slima, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he became the head of academy or something, head of technical development at Slima.
Yeah.
I think I remember being introduced to him at some point a few years ago.
Yeah. Damn, what was I saying? I forgot.
So you'd kind of finished the qualifiers. You hadn't really been included throughout the qualifiers.
Yeah, I didn't play a single minute. I went up there.
So did they bring you as part of the squad and then just not play you?
They brought me as part of the squad. And what happened was, first game, nothing at all, no minutes, 0. Second game, and I was called up to warm up as well.
Yeah.
Second game again, didn't start. It was the same start as I said, like the day before. And again, not even considered to be on a sub. And by that time, I was younger, so my temperament was worse. And I took such offense to that on that very same day, I was ill. I became ill. And obviously on the third day, I was going to play for, mind you, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But I was like, I can't play. I'm sick. I'm really sick. I can't play. And I ended up just not playing at all. And that's really...
So on the last day, they called you to play 2 minutes
Yeah.
during the game, but you told them you're feeling sick, you don't fancy it.
No, I was sick. I was sick. And
But were you on the bench with them sick?
Yeah.
Do you regret not going on or not really?
When I look back on it, not really, no. Because if I did take those 2 minutes, it would be like a punch in the face. Not even a slap, a punch in the face. Mm-hmm. So might as well stick to my ground and not, give them the satisfaction of like, oh, we played you.
Yeah, it's more of a shut up 2
Yeah.
minutes. Like, okay, fuck it. Put the people on that. We've got nothing to play for now.
Yeah. Mind you, were losing 4-0
Exactly.
by the half, so...
So why not just bring me on earlier? Like 10, 15 minutes is a lot more attractive to a player.
Then 2 minutes.
2 minutes, what you come on, you don't touch the ball, you do a little jog and then full-time whistle goes.
Yeah. And then what happened with under 19s, I progressed and under 19s was really good. We brought in the Italian coaches.
Before we move on to that, was there any kind of like blowback for saying no? Because I know some coaches take it quite offensively if a player says no.
Not really, no. Not really.
That's good that it didn't kind of go against you then? Because I know in some cases...
I went against them though, for not playing me earlier.
Exactly. So yeah, carry on. The Italian coaches joined. They took over the whole system, right?
The whole system for a bit until what happened later.
Scandal happened. That's for another podcast. I really need to find someone to talk about that because that was crazy.
It is crazy. Anyways, and finally it was new faces. These people don't know the players.
Exactly.
And I started getting that,
opportunity
the
again.
opportunity, the treatment. I was even considered to be the captain at one point.
Yeah.
So I was really doing well. And we're going up to the qualifiers. Season stopped because of... Not season stopped because of COVID. The under-17s championship was going to continue.
Yeah.
Under-21s, they were going to continue. Only the under-19 qualifying championships were not. They were stopped. So I never got to play abroad with the national team.
That is painful.
Yeah.
So only your age group.
Only
got
my age group.
suspended.
Yeah.
Did they give any excuse why it was only your age group that got suspended? Was it the country that it was taking place in?
Probably. I forgot where it was going to be held in. But yeah.
Because that's the only thing that would make sense to me is maybe the other two countries were...
But this was peak COVID, I think.
Yeah.
So like every country was a bad country to go to.
Yeah, some countries had much stricter rules though than others, didn't they? I remember some countries were like military level, like lockdowns and like, no, you can't come in. No one's allowed to even go outside and shit like that. I think Australia had it really bad over COVID.
But I think they were really strict on the traveling in Australia because not a lot of cases happened there.
Yeah.
They closed
Not
down
in
the
terms
airports.
of cases, but more in terms of just how like strict the policies were regarding life in general at that time. Some countries turned into weird prison type.
Italy being one of them.
Yeah, crazy. Couldn't imagine being in a country like that. I'm happy English people are too fucking lazy and don't give a fuck. Wow, what a time.
Yeah.
They did one lockdown and we're like, nah, fuck
Nah.
that.
Yeah, never again.
Suggest it again, fuck you. We're not
Never
doing
again,
that.
never again.
So, was that the end of like your international kind of journey then? So what happens at under 19? Obviously, you're going to be 18 years old. So you would have, just been finishing with Balzan that year? With that being the COVID year?
I think I was with Mqabba at that time.
Okay, so that was the year with Mqabba.
Yeah, it was the year with Mqabba. And
so then that was kind of all of that accumulated to you stopping in general. Then obviously you go back for a month of pre-season with Mqabba, but just don't fancy it. I mean, I can see why.
Because
everything
what happened with the under-19s as well was...
I mean, you've had your Premier League debut taken away from you. You've had your international experience robbed from you.
Yeah.
It seems like you can't catch a break, really, doesn't it? You don't want to feel sorry for yourself, but sometimes you look in the mirror and it's just like, what the fuck?
Like, I've done everything that I could.
Exactly.
You know, like...
And just due to stupid things like a completely uncontrollable outbreak.
Yeah.
Sends the world into lockdown.
And I mean, you could argue like, you have to keep your head up and keep working, but what am I working towards? There's no future here.
Again, exactly. You kind of, especially in Malta, there's a very, very small window to really make it a career here.
Yeah.
And when you know that it's not really worth it, because even if you do make it a career, is it going to be lucrative enough to really enjoy the career, or are you just going to be struggling and having to work anyway?
My goals for the longest time was to play abroad, but if I'm not getting that exposure from the international team, I'm probably never going to get it from anywhere else. Unless I market myself on the internet.
The first thing I always say to players over here that are like, yeah, I really want to go abroad, it's like, well, you better be playing in the Premier League as soon as possible, because that's the only league that even gets remotely any attention.
And not just the Premier League, top four.
Exactly.
The ones that play, Europa and Champions League.
Exactly. Unless you're getting that exposure, you're only being watched by random countries that you don't really want to go and play at anyway. But it's such a difficult thing for players.
Hey, Bolasi played in Malta, so...
He did, yeah. He's just lucky that he's got a very strong English background to fall back on. So we were just talking about how Luke's international career kind of got hijacked by COVID. And then obviously that all accumulated to you returning for pre-season, just not really feeling the vibe for football anymore.
Yeah.
Was there any other kind of factors that helped make the decision, or just generally just wasn't enjoying football at the time?
Yeah, I wasn't really enjoying football at the time, especially because I was giving it so much and never really getting anything back from it.
Yeah.
And obviously I was studying at the time. I was also working as well.
What is your job outside of football?
Right now I'm a software developer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that what you were doing kind of at the time, or were you training to do that at the time?
I was training to do that at the time. At that point I was an apprentice. So
Okay.
yeah, I was basically doing that same thing.
It's a busy industry.
It is.
Draining. So I just think it's so easy to fall into that pattern of resenting football, especially like you said, when you feel like you've given absolutely everything that you've got to try and make it, and you're just not seeing the results. It's so hard, especially when you know that within your own country, it's just not really that accessible.
Yeah.
Like even if you do make it as a Challenge League player, what do you really get from it?
Exactly. And I've had this conversation with my dad before, because my dad is a football fanatic. He loves football. He lived vicariously through me. So when I came to the decision that I wanted to stop football, he obviously didn't take it very well. In fact, the first time I ended up sort of rethinking it, because I saw the way my dad took it, and I was like, I can't see him like that. So I continued. I soldiered down for a bit. Then I had been on Balzan. Balzan was great. So I was like, okay, I'm getting back into it. And then you get slammed back down. And yeah. So, and then on the second time, I was older, a bit mature. And I was like,
you have to just look after yourself at that point, especially when your mental health is going through the works.
Yeah.
You just need to distance yourself from a few things, give yourself time and space to think things through, re-enter social life and actually mingle again with society. Because I find football is such a reclusive activity. You get home at late hours of the day, so everyone's already been out, and you miss that time because you're always training.
And if you take it seriously as well, you're going to keep away from those activities as well.
The amount of times I've had to pass on going on holidays or going on friends.
That's the thing.
And it's just like, you look back and you're like, why
would I do that?
Why have I missed out on such a big part of like growing up and my life? Just
when you're in the prime of your life, especially.
Exactly. And like, I look back at times, like I remember missing the first I don't think I've actually been on holiday with friends.
Wow.
Yeah, never been on like a friend's like lads holiday, anything like that, just because I've always travelled with work. It's always been football related travel, or travelling to go and work as a coach somewhere, or I can't travel because I've got a game on the weekend, or oh no, I've got 2 weeks of training I can't miss, otherwise when I come back I'm not going to be in the team, and then what's the point?
Yeah, the only time I travelled with friends basically wasn't just the first week of pre-season.
Yeah,
that's the most I would want to afford.
I usually found, especially the way things worked out in Malta, after the season finishes, when most people get that time to quickly go away, I hadn't played. So it's like, I can't really break. I kind of need to use that off season to work on myself and try and train more and do more. Like, you see the sort of things that I run outside of football, like the 5-a-sides and stuff. Like I started that 2 years ago during one off season period, because I think me and one of the other boys that I was playing with, Big Melvin at the time, we were both so unfit because we hadn't been playing, and we made the pact with each other. We were like, okay, like as soon as the season stops, that's our cue to start really putting in the effort and work. And again, you just miss out on time to do things. I remember friends calling me up like, oh, do you want to go? Like, we're booking this ski holiday here at this time. I'm like, I can't tell you. Like, I have to see on the day whether I've actually got time or not. And it's always no, because training would pop up, or like public holidays, they make you come in at 7 o'clock in the morning to train and stuff. It's crazy, man. But do you think it was the right decision to stop playing? Looking back with a bit more clarity?
The right decision. Sometimes, obviously, I'm like, what if, but that's with every decision,
It's never too late, like you said, you're 21.
Yeah, it's never too late, but again, I don't see myself ever going back into that sort of environment.
The kind of would you call it, the professional environment?
Yeah, and that's just talking from just the football and not how the people are, because obviously the people, the way their mentality is, their comments, there's just outrageous at most times.
Yeah.
And so
I find that the most frustrating thing, specifically about Maltese football. I can't handle being around the people involved in it.
It's that I don't want to associate myself with those people,
Having been at I've had a taste of every level of Maltese football, and it's the same
everywhere. Yeah,
everywhere.
It's the same everywhere.
Just the narrow-mindedness and just some of the treatment that I've had at clubs. I just look and I think, how the fuck? Why would I even consider putting up with that?
Yeah.
Spending a year of basically just being abused.
Yes.
For not being the same as everyone else.
And I say this, like, I'm Maltese born, obviously. I wasn't ever going to get that treatment, but I just hate seeing that's the way they treated other people, you know?
I remember one training session being told to go back to my own country because I tackled someone. And I was like, bro, I'm fucking Maltese. I'm here.
Yeah. Just because I sound different doesn't mean I'm not.
Don't even have an English passport anymore. I couldn't go home if I wanted to. But yeah, honestly, it's just not a nice atmosphere to play in. And
definitely.
I find the politics behind a lot of the clubs just ruins the enjoyment of it.
Yeah.
Really ruins the atmosphere. It develops really toxic relationships within the club.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a shame because Malta really could have such a successful football setup because of how accessible and how much everyone loves the sport.
Yeah.
Like you said, if people would just partner and put their egos aside and actually do what's best for the country, it really could be a hub for football talent.
It can. It's really
climate-wise, everything. There's a lot of things that work in favour for Malta.
But pride kills everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but thankfully, I never really stopped playing football. Sort of after I quit playing professionally, I still, I was playing with workmates.
Yeah.
I have the odd five-a-side with friends. So I never really stopped. Obviously, I reduced my training hours and what sort of training I was doing.
Let's face it, matches are the most fun part as well. So
yeah, by far.
When you can reduce training out of your life and just play with mates and stuff, it just makes the whole experience much more fun. You start to feel like you felt when you were a kid again.
Exactly. And that's how I started loving football again. No pressure, no commitment. You just play, you have fun.
You don't want to come one week, it doesn't affect your position in the team.
Exactly.
Okay, next week they'll just call me back. I can get back involved.
Yeah.
And I think we'll transition now to talk a little bit about the five-a-sides, because it was really what I wanted to build, was just that pressure-free environment for high-level footballers just to express themselves and enjoy themselves, because it's so restrictive playing professional football over here. Exactly. And you just feel like all your creativity is sucked out of you. You get shit on for trying anything different to what you're supposed to. And I just want to give that platform for people to enjoy themselves and not feel tied to the whole season. Like, if you want to come and play 2 games, play 2 games. You want to come and play the whole season, then I'll try and find you for every single game. You might rotate once or twice, but for the most part, I think I've been quite loyal to the players that have helped out so far.
Yes, definitely. I mean, thankfully, I've been called up almost every week, excluding one of them, but...
And I think I even tried to bring you into that game at some point.
Yeah, I was a reserve.
But it's been good. I've enjoyed the 5 so far.
Yeah, and I appreciate the call-ups. They've been some really good fun.
I'm trying to think how we even got in touch again too, because we hadn't really spoken before that, had we?
I saw your story actually.
Because I was recruiting players, right? I wanted to put together the first game. I was looking to see if there was anyone that just was generally interested in the idea.
You just put a story who's up for we'll have a single spot available, I was like, sure, fuck it, why not?
So I remember hearing from you. I was thinking, I wonder if because I hadn't really been following much since then. And obviously we knew each other from Mqabba. And I'd looked on the MFA website and it still said that you were contracted to them, but you hadn't been playing. So I was a bit curious about kind of what happened in general. Because I remember you were one of like the main players in the defensive line.
My contract only ends this year.
It's the same with me and Shira. Thankfully, I'm a free agent again, but they've been holding me hostage for the last year. They released everyone that wanted to go but me. Just refused to release me. Don't even want me there. Like, refuse to invite me to training.
What's the reason?
I know. I don't understand it. And like, I gave so much to them in a period where really I shouldn't have. And it's weird. It's really weird. And like, I messaged them at the beginning of the season, like, look, I'd like my release. I found out that you guys have started a whole new group chat without me, just so that you can start pre-season without inviting me.
That's so petty. What?
I was like,
did you piss someone off or something?
That was the worst part. Like, literally, I'd left my mum on her deathbed to go and play the final playoff game. And then I flew back, obviously, to go see her before she passed away. But
Condolences.
Like, it was so strange. Like, and I said to them, I said, look, no offense, but what I've been through this last like 2 months, and I've still showed up every single game for you.
This treatment is not what I deserve. Anything.
I'd expect just a little bit more respect. I thought we had ended on good terms, but clearly not. Like, I don't understand your reason behind this, but like, just do the right thing. I don't really care about excuses, whatever. Just do the right thing and give me my release so that I can. Like, I probably don't even want to play. Like, I'd already made my mind up.
Yeah.
I don't want to play. I just don't want to be locked into being with you, because for whatever reason, like, let's say halfway through the season or whatever, if I change my mind, I don't want to hit that brick wall. And yeah, they just were like, yeah, fine, we'll release you. I was like, okay, good. And then a week goes by, not released. 2 weeks goes by, I messaged them back, look, can you release me? You've said you'll do it. Please give me my release. Yeah, we'll do it. And then like, I just got fed up of asking. They just kept saying yeah and not doing it. Still to this day, I tried again in January. Look, I might be signing with a team. Can you give me my release? No reply.
Wow.
So I was just like, fuck this. I was okay, fine. I'll just sit the whole season out and just get my release at the end. But again, I just don't want to play. When I see what I'm doing with the five-a-sides and how much more fun it is.
Yeah, you just want to like devote all your energy towards that.
I'm just like, you know what? I'm enjoying myself so much more with projects related to football without actually being
the professional football setting.
In the football setting. Yeah, it's just so much more freeing and enjoyable.
It really is.
And again, just like you said, the whole thing of playing with high-level players, the fact that we vet the players that are coming, and for the most part, unless we have a few last-minute fill-ins I just need to get someone there, most of the players are ballers. There's a lot of good players there, and it just creates such a good atmosphere to play high-level football.
It does.
Whereas when you play at amateur league and some of these lower leagues, it's just some of the players are so bad and they play so negatively. I don't mind unskilled footballers trying to play football, but when they're just not playing football, just kicking the ball as far as they can and like not wanting to pass the ball, I'm like, what are we doing here, lads? Like, is there a point in me being on the pitch because I've not touched the ball for 30 minutes?
And I'm not going to run after it either.
Exactly, I'm not going to chase it. So either pass me the ball or I may as well just sub myself off. This is shit. I don't enjoy this at all.
Yeah.
What's your plan kind of next season? Is there any part of you that wants to get back into football in a more consistent setting? Maybe not professionally, but at a consistent level? Or are you kind of just happy where you're at the moment?
Don't know what to tell you. I'm sort of taking it day by day. The more I'm enjoying football, the more
you get that little buzz back.
That little buzz, that little
wanting
urge
to be competitive.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I kind of feel like playing sort of professional football again. But to get rid of the commitment, I need to go into the lower leagues, which I am not ready to do that.
Yeah.
Because most of them don't play football.
Honestly, it's painful. The last year and a half that I've spent in amateur league has made me so miserable when it comes to...
I just get angry. I used to get angry at players in Mqabba playing Challenge League. So I can only imagine how frustrated I get.
Painful.
In a lower league.
Like, you pass the ball to someone perfectly, they miscontrol it, and then have the cheek to turn around and tell you, oh, give me a better pass. Bro, there is nothing I could have done better for you there without picking the ball up and putting it on the floor.
Or they lose possession on their own and they start pointing fingers at other people.
The amount of arguments I had in training, because even just in training, like the training team would be losing like 2 or 3-0 because the same player keeps making the same mistake. And then he'd have the cheek to turn around and just be like, why aren't you running? And I'm quite good at keeping my head down and but by that final year with everything that was going on, my temper had gone.
Yeah.
And anyone that wanted it, come and get it. Like, you call me out, I will make you look like a prick. And it just created such confrontational battles because people would try and use me as the scapegoat because, he's the foreigner. And he's not actually Maltese, so let's just put everything on him. And I used to get so wound up and just call people out. Like, they'd come and say something to me, I'd be like, shut the fuck up. If you've got something to say, fix your own fucking game because you are shit. Look at you. You can't even control the ball. You're shit.
I used to take that frustration back home with me. But thankfully, never really unleashed it on anyone.
Yeah.
Just with myself.
It's hard to bottle it all up, though. It's tough.
It is.
Right. I think we can start wrapping up the podcast. We're looking at about an hour and 40 minutes so far. It's been a good session. I've really enjoyed listening to your story. Really enjoyed listening to it. Really
was a good talk.
interesting.
It was a really good talk. And it's just a platform to share my story, actually. So it's nice to be heard.
For people that want to continue following Luke's journey, whether that goes back into the professional level or not, Luke, where on Instagram can they find you? What's your tag?
Yeah, my handle is musu.16, MUSU.
I'll put that up on the screen behind us as well. So make sure you go follow him on Instagram and you can follow his day-to-day ongoings. For those of you that want to see him playing, you can find him every Saturday at 6 p.m. on the 5, season 2, unsigned. He's been one of the leading players. Actually, that's an interesting point. Let's quickly go over some of your stats for the season. So we're currently about to air episode 4 this afternoon. So after 4 appearances, you've played every single game so far. You've got 5 goals, 4 assists, 4 nutmegs. You're actually leading nutmegs at the moment. You've won 3 out of 4 games. And you are currently points-wise for the MVP list, you are fourth in the rankings. You're literally tied with me, I think. Yeah, we're 2 points between each other. Justin is running away with it at the moment just because he keeps winning man of the match and goal of the game. And then let's look at, after 8 episodes, you're on 7 games, 6 goals, 9 assists. I think in the assist chart, you're second in the assist chart.
That's
so
good.
Maybe on Tuesday, put a bit more effort on getting those 2 assists, overtake Justin. I might put you on the same team and you can just hog the ball from him. If he passes you the ball, just pass it to someone else. Make sure he doesn't get any assists. Nutmegs, I think you're leading. No, I managed to overtake you in the last game. By one. I got 3, I think, in the last game. So literally before that, I was nowhere near you. And yeah, you're playing well. I think, again, when it comes to points, this needs to be adjusted properly because I know there's another scoring field that I've added for players like me and you to get some defensive points. You are 5th at the moment with 42, but that's only because you missed the last game. And yeah, I think for sure you've been one of the standout players. I know everyone enjoys seeing you on their team sheet. Whenever I put the teams together, it's one of those. I start weighing up what players I need to move because sometimes I look at the list and I've got like 3 or 4 of like the star players in one team, and I look at the other team like, I cannot risk, because it probably wouldn't be a one-sided game, but at the same time, if it does, like, that's bad from me putting 4 players that on the points and like backed up by stats are like the best players on the pitch. So.
Yeah, but so far they've been pretty balanced. I mean,
we've had one or two stinkers, but I think apart from that, the games have been good.
Yeah, but for the amount of games that we've played, and most of them
1 goal in it, like last goal,
exactly.
Like, it's like scored at the final second.
First half dominating 4-0, then you bring it back.
Yeah, there's been some good drama. It's been really exciting.
I think almost every match we've had, there was at least like a 3-goal deficit.
Yeah, and then the team claws their way back in, yeah. What was it? There was the last game that we just played. You see that final like 3 minutes. We were 1 goal down, I think. And then just me and you turn it on, like just like that. Because we had to sit back. We were sat so far back defending just because we had Matt and Larry going at it, arguing all game. I was like, fucking hell, boys. Shut the fuck up and play, please. You're killing us. Matt's meant to be our creative player and he just cannot hold the ball to save his life. Just losing it every time he gets it.
Matt was knackered as well, huh?
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Game. I was knackered. I mean, I had a week off from training.
I was storing that little last bit so at the end I could bomb forward to try and salvage.
In the last 5 minutes, I was trying to go box to box, and you just see me at the back. Just
I messaged him after because I could see while I was watching and doing the stat taking. I was like, Jesus, this guy's hands are on his knees, puffing and puffing. I was like, man, that 1 week off has killed you. But
it really does. I need constant training, otherwise I just switch off instantly.
The drama was crazy. Last second, like 10 seconds left on the clock, and I managed to, I think you pass it to me. I dribbled forward like 3 players.
I think you cut in. You
cut inside, just kept cutting in. Got tackled 2 times, but managed to keep the ball.
You stay up. Game's not dead.
I managed to get that last blast at Miguel's goal. Miguel's so good in goal.
He is.
So hard to score.
He's good in a big goal, let alone a smaller one.
I cannot wait for the day that I get to put season 1 Miguel against season 2 Miguel. Because Miguel Falzon, the goalkeeper of Ormi, is unbelievable. Like the two of them together when they're on the pitch, it's like impossible to score.
Season 3,
I'm determined to make it happen. Even maybe I might be able to squeeze it at the end of
season 2, maybe.
Season 2.
Once the league finishes.
Once the league's done, I might try and get Miguel in just to do a Miguel versus Miguel match.
That's going to be such a low scoring game, probably. unless we switch on offensively, that's going to be a very low scoring game.
And I've got the artwork planned already. You know the Spider-Man meme where they're
That's a good idea.
One Miguel, the other Miguel pointing at each other with season 1, season 2. And I'm going to call it the Battle of the Miguel. Whoever wins keeps the name Miguel. The other one can't be called Miguel for season 3. They lose the name Miguel for season 3.
We'll have to call them Michael or something.
Exactly. They give them a random name. But Luke, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast.
It was a pleasure being here.
Wrap up episode 20 here. Guys, if you've enjoyed the Unprofessional Footballer podcast, feel free to subscribe to the channel and you'll get plenty more podcasts to come. Leave a like if you've enjoyed the video and comment down below if there's anyone else that you would like to see in Malta right now or anywhere, I guess. I think I'm going back to England soon to record a series. So leave some comments down below if there's anyone you would like to see on the podcast and make sure you tune in for the next one. Luke, thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Good luck with everything in the future.
Same goes.
And we will see you on Tuesday or Saturday.
Yep.
Saturday for the video release. Schedule's absolutely gone. See you later, guys.
See ya.
And that's a wrap.